All right. Do it, girl.
All right. We're recording?
Yeah, we're fucking recording.
Hi, and welcome to our second episode of Resolved Mysteries podcast. If you're watching along with us on Amazon Prime, this is Season 1, Episode 2. We're going to be updating, resolving, and resolving the stories of Missy Mundy and Jerry Strickland, Michael Scott Martin, Kurt McFall, and the Lost V-Mail Letters. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you like us, leave a review and tell a friend. Follow our Instagram at re_solvedmysteries, and you can find our website at resolvedmysteriespodcast.com. You can contact us there.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so first up, we've got a wanted segment, as this was a fairly recent case from when the show aired. But we could also rename the segment to Criminal Manipulates Teenage Girl into Doing Terrible Things with Him. Okay, so this is the story of Melissa, or Missy Mundy, and Jerry Strickland. So a little bit about Missy. She's an honor student. She's 15 at the time of this case, which is 1985. She's in the top 10% of her class. She is a member of the Future Homemakers of America, ladies.
She's just not that kind of girl.
Isn't that sweet?
Goals.
Had you guys heard of that?
The Future Homemakers?
Yes.
I believe that my mother was in it, and she sewed a vest and a pair of bell bottoms.
Nice.
Is it just home ec? What is it?
It's home ec, girl.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sewing it, but okay, I looked into it a little bit. It's an organization that began in 1945. I bet you can't guess which gender made up most of the organization.
I would like to say white men, Alex.
I wish. So it was mostly for girls. They said they would let boys in, but the focus was on preparing members for marriage, caring for a home and household, and learning about household economics. So I was doing some reading and was like very disgusted.
How to be a wife that stays in the kitchen.
But sadly,
Don't even go to college, ladies.
Yeah. Then my heart got broken because I read one part that was like, well, actually, the organization was started by women who were like, we want some say in our household. So this is the only way we can really get that is by having this group that we are in high school. And then we take whatever we learn from it, like learning interest in household economics before. Without it, they wouldn't have known anything about it, I guess.
That's how you make America great again,
Isn't
I think.
it? The organization did change their name in 1999 to Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America.
Oh, that was after I
Not
graduated.
until 1999.
1990.
It took...
Good Lord.
It took a minute. Also, I believe that was the same organization that made you carry an egg or a bag of flour around your high school for a little bit.
Possibly.
And did like a weird fake marriage? Or was that just
Yeah.
my
No.
high school?
Sure.
We had dolls that cried.
Oh.
Well, we didn't.
You mean the royal we?
Yeah.
Our health class?
I never had that.
Do you remember the project in health class? It was called The Wedding Project.
Oh, like how to plan a
The entire
wedding?
project was making like a wedding binder of like your dream
that's right.
wedding.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
And like researching like where the things would come from and how much they were, budgeting
For the record,
wedding.
you did not go to a public school.
No, are you kidding?
What? Yeah.
No, we went to private
Yeah.
school.
No,
You're
I
just
meant
now
like
finding
didn't you guys
out
go to
we're
like a weird
loaded.
religious school?
No.
No.
No money for that. So apparently we were also in the Future
Awful.
Homemakers of America
I guess
by
you were.
indoctrination. So Missy's mom and friends described her as shy and trustworthy and just responsible and a true sweetie. A little about Jerry.
Sweetie?
You decide. So he was 24 when they met. Again, Missy was 15.
Hold on. Is he 24 in that image?
No, that was after he was arrested. That's not him.
Never mind.
That's
that's him.
Yes.
He is.
He was like 26.
We're going to put it up on our Instagram.
We are going to put it up on Instagram, and I swear to God, if I have to stay up all night to learn how to post a video to Instagram, his jailhouse interview is the best. He is the silliest motherfucker.
It's the best.
He just looks like a doofus. Like,
he's just,
don't worry, ladies.
wait until...
I have a current photo.
Yeah.
yes.
All right, so you get a
We'll
before,
post it.
after, and video.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Jerry had a wife and child who he claimed had died in a terrible car accident, but who were actually alive. He also had served time in jail for raping his sister-in-law, cutting her throat, and leaving her for dead.
Ooh.
I forgot about that part.
But he served a little jail time, but apparently not enough jail time.
I mean, back then it was like
Probably dressed
she
like a slut.
Yeah, she was dressed like a slut. Was she
was
wearing
her fault.
perfume? Probably.
So Missy and Jerry meet when Jerry, which this is also creepy, knocks on her family's door to inquire about property next door because he wants to open an orphanage. Like, could you have picked something less believable?
I'm sorry, Charles fucking Dickens. Like, were orphanages a fucking thing back then? Jeez. That was Eliza's head. She's
Sorry.
fine. It's cool. I'll edit that out.
So he knocks on their door. Clearly, to me, it seems like he knows Missy lives there and he picked that excuse or their house to do whatever he wants to do. So it's kind of horrifying.
Do you think that he knew her ahead of time?
I don't know. The mom explained, like, she went to school and then she came home and she was a part of these things and she'd always call and we would pick her right up. Like, I don't think so. And nothing I found said that. And the reenactment, which of course is not the real thing, but the reenactment just shows Missy gazing longingly out her screen door towards Jerry as Jerry
She's
and
like,
her mom talk about the property.
If only we could open an orphanage together.
Yeah. But she was in the Future Homemakers of America, so she's probably like, I need to be a wife.
I gotta make
Yeah.
that home, honey.
She's like, I also got to get that A so I can go to not college.
Ass? Oh. A plus. Okay. So
I really like the idea that Allie censors herself on the word ass.
Yeah.
all right. So Jerry and Missy start hanging out. He starts buying her gifts. She starts sneaking out to meet him after dark. He buys her a ring. And on April 17th, 1986, Missy said goodbye to her mom. She's running to catch the school bus, but instead of getting on the bus, she gets into Jerry's waiting car. They drive out of the state and eventually settle in Springfield, Michigan. So it's like hours and hours and hours away, okay?
All right.
All right.
That's all the detail you get.
Okay, they settle in Springfield, Michigan. Missy never touched base with her family. And in the episode, you can see her mom and some of her friends talking. They're interviewed and they clearly haven't talked to her.
I just would like to say,
Her friends. Like, nerdy AF.
girl, that one best friend, BFF, waiting to snitch on. So, see also a mother being like,
I know.
my
She
daughter
never lied to me.
is not that kind of person, and she would never lie to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
And a lot of the friends are like, she actually didn't like her home. She only liked her brother and her grandpa.
imagine?
It was a really bad environment. I don't know.
So, like, I mean, but a reoccurring theme in Unsolved Mysteries, for better or worse, due to editing or the times, is a lot of mothers wringing their hands and saying, I don't know where she is, but I know it's not her fault, and I know
Parents
her.
in denial. Lots of parents
Yeah.
in denial.
So many.
You
You don't know your
denial.
teenage daughter. So, if you have a teenage daughter and you're listening,
You don't know her.
nope.
No.
She's
Think
fuck-
about yourself as a teenager.
Yeah, you were a train wreck. And if you weren't a train wreck,
And think about the
she's
secrets.
a train wreck.
No. Well, okay, I have a question, though, about that one.
What a snitch.
She doesn't start talking about her, though, until she's in Michigan. So I think she was her friend in Michigan, not from high school.
Oh,
Because she doesn't, because she knew, because she knew Jerry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
And
because my
she-
first comment was like, in my notes, I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking high school snitch bitches.
Yeah,
No.
because she was like talking about like observing how they were together, their
Yeah.
relationship and stuff.
Yeah.
So Missy gives birth at 15 or 16 to
That's
a
cool.
son. She gets a job to help make money as an assistant manager at a gas station. And she meets a true sweetie, Elmer DeBoer.
Elmer.
We love him. We do love him.
R.I.P.
I know.
Spoiler alert.
He was a courier for the oil company. And so he would bring cash to the gas station, talk with Missy a little bit while she was working, ask about her family. And yeah, he just seemed really nice and like someone that Missy could be friends with and be a little bit honest with about her
He also
life.
had a thing for her, I think
It's-
right? Or like at least a bit of sympathy, not like a predatory.
Yeah, no,
like,
I think
no.
like she
He was
trusted him and she
a
would
friend.
tell him like my home life is horrible. Like I
Yeah.
think he knew.
of course.
So,
It's pretty
yeah, reportedly they became good friends and would chat and talk. So then on May 11th, 1987, so this is a little over a year after Missy has left home, Elmer DeBoer made his normal stop at the station to pick up the cash for that day. And later, when customers arrived at the gas station, they found it locked and empty. The police were called and they found that $10,000 was missing from the safe.
What kind of gas station has fucking 10,000
I
fucking
know.
dollars?
Yeah.
What the
Well,
fuck?
maybe it's the only one.
Well,
in
this
I'm
is-
sorry.
this
This
is-
was in '86. What was gas? Like $1
Still,
a gallon?
maybe it's the only one for Miles and Miles.
And think about are there cards? Everyone's paying in
I
cash.
mean, there are
True.
cards, but people don't pay for things like cards. That's a lot.
That is a lot of money, especially back
Does
then.
it come like once a month?
I don't know.
I did not
he
think
was
about
there like
Right?
how weird that
Is- I
is.
mean,
he was
like-
there often.
I mean, that's just like
What
a
are you
bananas
doing in
amount
charge
of
of
money. That kind of money at a gas station in the middle of nowhere,
I wonder. Yeah,
right?
yeah. So $10,000, lots of money, is missing. Missy and Elmer are also nowhere to be found. So the day after this, the police find the body of 38-year-old Elmer DeBoer in a heavily wooded area near his car. He had been handcuffed and shot twice in the back of the head. Yeah.
Fucking coward's way.
It's awful. So then police begin to piece the events of the previous day together, and they believed that Jerry Strickland was involved in the robbery and murder, and 16-year-old Missy was an accomplice.
16-year-old Missy
16.
was like, I totally set this up.
Yep.
Because this
It's
is what I
her
learned
fault.
in home ec.
Yeah, so that is that's something else I wanted to mention. Detective Sergeant Donald G. Bailey has it out.
Oh my God, the
For
victim
Missy.
blaming. No, I have it in my notes.
Yeah. One of his quotes is, I want them both real bad. They are dangerous people to any community they're in. They will do this again. Yeah, she's a child. So, yeah, they think that what probably happened is Jerry went to work with Missy that day, knowing Elmer would be coming. He waited in a back room. Once Elmer came and opened the safe, Jerry must have come out, pulled a gun on him. But then probably Jerry handcuffed Missy and Elmer together, which this is so sweet. They knew that if that happened, this part, coming right now,
This part, that's
they knew that if they did that, Elmer would think Missy was also a victim or could possibly get hurt, and that would help him go along with Jerry's demands.
This is actually
easier.
like the opposite. It is the worst thing ever.
But it means Elmer's sweet, not that the situation's
no,
sweet.
they literally took advantage of him.
Yeah.
He's so sweet.
He
He was like, just whatever you do, don't kill this 16-year-old girl
Yes.
who has an abusive boyfriend and a tiny baby at home.
yeah.
So they locked up the station, drove out to the wooded area, uncuffed Missy from Elmer, and shot him.
Jesus Christ.
And so
horrible.
at this point in the show, when the show airs, the couple is on the run. So
Oh yeah.
the morning after the murder,
update.
so the same day Elmer's body was found, but that morning the couple were seen in Pontiac, Michigan, which is a couple of hours away, buying a blue truck in cash. Jerry went to get insurance after they had bought the car, because that's what you had to do, is walk somewhere to get insurance before you could drive away. Apparently.
Olden times.
And something that Detective Sergeant Bailey really pointed out was that Missy was alone with the car salesman for hours and hours
She
and
could've
never picked
run.
up the phone.
At any time.
Yeah. And I just put in large letters, she was a child.
I literally wrote, she's guilty but abused. So,
Like, she was
and a
also-
child.
yeah, a
worried for her own safety.
16-year-old
Yeah.
sexually assaulted child.
Holding her baby. Give her a break.
Yeah.
So Yeah, they give descriptions. That's when his quote comes in, how bad he wants them. They give descriptions of the couple, and then the original segment ends. So the update is within minutes of the broadcast.
Damn.
Minutes.
Crazy.
20.
Also, sorry, goes
Yeah.
to show that like all of America would sit down and watch that.
You are right in that 20 viewers from Moses Lake, Washington, which is a super small rural community, all called the police to claim they recognized the couple.
Yeah.
And within 7 hours of those phone calls, so the next morning after the broadcast, the police arrested the couple at a friend's house without a struggle. In fact, Jerry said, "Yes, I'm the man you're looking for." So they had actually watched the broadcast and were just waiting for the police to come.
That's the way to do it. Just relent.
Well, you might as well have a few more hours to relax.
I mean, also, here's the thing. If you're going to fugitize yourself, maybe go to Chicago, LA, New York, San Francisco, London.
Yeah.
Don't
Not
go to
a
a
small
tiny
little
Stay in your
community.
small town where the 20 people who live there are all going to call it.
God damn.
All right, so Jerry, this is where we will put this up on the Instagram page if we can.
will.
Just, I'll give you the minutes to look at. You must watch just this part where Jerry says,
They got circumstantive evidence, all hearsay. If people talking, but no witnesses, I mean, okay? That's why, I say they're going to learn that we didn't do this.
so then they show him getting arrested. Then his jailhouse interview is him just, of course, saying that they only have circumstantive evidence
Is
and can't
obviously
prove
the-
anything.
That's the name of this
Circumstantive.
fucking episode. I can't believe I thought it was Polish sausage and potato chips. It's circumstantive.
Circumstantive with a hyphen. Circumstantive,
Yep.
2 words. He thinks that the police, or he's saying, obviously he's guilty. He's saying that the police just have circumstantive, or
Is that
I'll
like getting
help.
circle size?
Let me help. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Circumstantive evidence. Yeah.
okay.
If you couldn't tell,
It's like
what he meant.
circle navigating
Yeah.
the globe.
It's-
Okay.
Maybe he was just smarter than all of us, and he wanted us to figure that out.
Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah, thanks, bud. So Jerry and Missy are tried separately, and in exchange for her testimony, thank God, the murder and kidnapping charges were dropped. She testifies against Jerry. She serves just 7 months in a juvenile home for armed robbery and was released when she turned 19. He was convicted of murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery and is serving currently still 2 consecutive life sentences without parole. Just a couple more things about Jerry. I looked up his prison inmate page from Michigan.gov, and you can see a current picture. We'll post it.
Is he all about the
derpy.
circumstantial evidence,
Yeah.
though, still?
Well, that should have been one of his aliases, but I can give you a couple of his others.
Please do.
That's on the inmate page. One of them is Cooter.
No, wait, what?
Why?
I mean,
We don't love you, Jerry. You
No, we hate you,
love
Jerry.
vaginas. You don't deserve
doesn't
to
love
be
a
called a
cooter.
cooter.
Yeah, that's
deserve
like
it.
Okay, and then the other one, I don't know, is Jerry Wayne Stricken, not Strickland.
he's like
Find-
soft D.
Yeah, we could give him our
oh,
own
can
nicknames.
that episode title be Softy?
Yes, because I'm so confused. I thought you were Jerry Strickland, but it turns out you're just Jerry
Stricken.
Strickland.
Not even Strickland. Stricken. Okay, I couldn't find information on Missy, which is probably a good thing, but I hope her and her family are doing well, for sure. There are a few people I Googled or found while Googling Twitter and Facebook things that I thought, oh, this could be her. I didn't want to reach out, but
I'm sure she's like, she probably, I mean, not assuming she married, but certainly if she did marry, changed her name.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. She's only 16.
Yeah. So we wish Missy well.
Yeah, girl. Fuck.
That's
You're doing great, girl.
Yeah.
Like, who hasn't
And
had
your
a
baby.
shitty boyfriend when they were 16?
And rest in peace, Elmer. All right, so that's the story of Missy Mundy and Jerry Strickland and Elmer DeBoer. All right, is this you, honey bun?
I think Allison has story
Oh,
too.
it is me. And we're just going to keep it going. I'm not going to say I'm drinking my wine out of a can. So, this is the second segment of episode 2, season 1.
I need to noisily turn my note pages real quick. Final appeal?
Also, I like to call it
What's your
Polish
alternate
sausage
title?
and
Damn it. I
potato
didn't do an alternate title in my...
Final appeal. Michael Scott Martin.
Nope. Say it again. Do
I
that
will.
over.
Okay,
Michael
ready?
Scarn, office shout out.
One Dwicht. Okay, this is Michael Scott Martin. Martin. Now I feel weird about the R's that I say.
No,
Resolve,
that was
resolve.
great.
Okay.
You sound like you're from the West Coast.
Martin. So, July 14th, 1979. Garland, Texas. The victim is Doyle, and he is so afraid of retribution that he's in shadow and you can't see him. He fingers a guy named Michael Martin from a bunch of, I wrote headshots. I meant mugshots. So I've realized that I'm super bad at this because I aggressively write about the episode, and then when I do research later, I feel super fucking bad about everything I've said.
Or what it's like to be a viewer of the show.
Sure,
True.
because you're like, what?
Yes. Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
It's
like,
true.
I've done that
First instinct.
so many times.
Allison's first instinct on everything is fuck that guy.
And then I'm like, oh no.
But KB is right. That is everyone's reaction. But no one then has to go talk about it into a recording.
Oh my God. So here we go. At the time of the episode, Michael Martin has spent 8 years in prison. They interview him and he is totally adamant. He didn't do it. Not only that, but he's like super outraged because he was in Fort Worth, Texas. And his friends saw him. There were like 5 witnesses and he's pretty convincing. So Martin had a clean record. He was just an upstanding citizen until January of 1979. 7 months before the gas station robbery. Okay, so like this reenactment is like the fucking...
We're giggling because it's playing in our brain.
I'm gonna do my best to post it. It is the Citizen Kane of reenactments.
It
I mean,
truly
it
is.
is just like so good. Look it up or I'll, whatever. We'll figure it out, but we're gonna enjoy this all together. Okay, so Martin was drunk in a grocery store. This is a direct quote. Michael and a friend had been drinking and were seen eating Polish sausage and potato chips.
Off the shelves. Which our first question.
Sorry, what are they doing in the same aisle?
How do you pull a sausage off the shelf and eat it? Is it raw?
This
Are
was
you
a-
eating a raw sausage? Or are you that drunk?
You are eating that raw sausage. You're raw dogging that raw sausage. And then
Italian. Oh my God, Alison, do not. Again.
A larger question for me
That's
is,
disgusting.
did you bring that sausage to the potato chips or did you take the chips to the sausage?
Yes.
Were you like,
Maybe he
Came
was like
first.
dipping it.
Mostly the whole body acting.
oh my God.
Just the
reenactment.
reenactment saunter
oh my
of the
God.
very thin man.
Eliza's swaying from side to side.
I know.
It's
So
memorable.
they were seen eating Polish sausage and potato chips. And when they were asked to pay for the PS and PC, they got into an altercation and Martin pulled a knife.
Girl, and
Oh my
pulling
God.
a knife about that Polish sausage.
Honey, he literally goes, "You want some of this, ma'am?" And he's like jabbing this.
Ew, that's what he said in the
Yeah,
reenactment.
and the
knife.
switchblade the size of my thumb, and he's jabbing at 4 large men. 2 of the security guards are holding brooms.
Yes, that's right.
It is.
I don't remember that.
It is the Citizen Kane of reenactments. In the reenactment, he has a tiny, tiny switchblade. There are 4 grown men. 2 are super large, and they're holding brooms.
And yeah, as they start walking, they're like backlit by
Yes.
the grocery store, so they're just silhouetted like it's a movie cover.
Yeah, like Quentin Tarantino's like, this is, oh my God, now I just imagine Reservoir Dogs. This is exactly what I was fucking
is
thinking
it.
of.
This was my inspiration.
Michael and his tiny switchblade.
Oh, no.
And these fucking guys with brooms.
This
like,
is deep.
oh, fuck. Okay. So I said Garland's defense is that he was an adolescent, but like you were 26, so just fucking stop with that. Just be like, I got drunk and I fucking love Polish sausage
I
and
made a
potatoes.
mistake.
I know the worst thing that you can do when you're trying to be funny is laugh at yourself, but like I didn't fucking write this.
No, girl.
So to
No,
me, this is like
no.
true.
It's all about
I
the
love
Polish
it.
sausage.
So he pled guilty. He was fined and given 4 years probation. When the gas station was robbed, that's how Martin's mugshot ended up in the pile. because I think they just threw in a bunch of people who had previously been arrested. The witness, Doyle, is like super, super convinced. You can't be mad. Like, he was the one that was robbed at gunpoint. Like, I'm sure it was terrifying for him. He's interviewed in shadow. He's afraid of fucking retribution.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
He says 100% without a doubt he knows it's
he
him.
is not lying. Like,
To him,
he is not lying.
Yeah.
But they also weirdly, okay, so there's one like prosecutor who said that he saw Martin around there,
Yes.
right? Okay.
And had known of him, I think, and
From
was like,
the Polish
it's
sausage and potato
yeah.
chip thing. I feel like they were out for him. I feel
Oh,
like that the
yeah,
guy,
yeah. I thought
think it was
so.
the same person that was involved in the Polish sausage and potato
Yes.
chips incident, saw him and was like, yeah, that fucking guy.
Yeah.
He's a troublemaker.
It seemed like he had him pegged before the mugshot thing even.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
I
was
feel
weird.
like the mugshot ended up in there because this guy was like, you did this.
Let's get this over with.
Yeah, exactly. There's one witness, which is Doyle, and then there's another like mystery witness that I think is like a teenager. They don't really get into it very much, but I think it's because the person was young.
Underage.
Yeah. From what I read.
I have one note written down about the witnesses, and it is that they all have ridic bullets. All of them.
What does ridic bullets mean?
Mullets. I thought she said that too at first.
Oh, mullets. Yeah. Hi.
That's true.
Welcome to Garland, Texas in 1979 or anywhere else at any time before.
Ridic mullet or get out.
Yeah. Thanks.
Dick mullet or get out.
Ridic mullet.
This is like a very phallic segment.
Yeah.
Sexy times. Okay. Here's the thing about all of the two witnesses for the prosecution, Doyle and the unmentioned teenager Martin, has 5 witnesses who are super convinced that he was super far away. Where did I say?
70 miles.
70 miles away from Garland, Texas. How can they be so sure? Well, George McFarlane, sci-fi hero, fucking loves Battlestar Galactica.
We're going to put him on the Instagram.
Oh, we are not only going to put him on the Instagram, but George McFarlane, if you are ever listening, please just like,
Oh, shout out.
Oh, my
honey.
God.
Wait, how old would he be now?
I don't care. I bet he still loves Battlestar Galactica because the reboot was amazing. And let's have a
Absolutely.
combo about it because I loved it.
Probably like,
The last season was weak, but I
he'd
got you,
probably
George.
be 55-ish.
Yeah.
60.
He was probably like 19. He just looked 100 because it was the 80s.
Yeah.
So
Do you
And
have...
he's still wearing those same glasses now. I can see it in my head.
Oh my God.
It's like Harry Potter glasses, right?
I mean, yeah.
Thin frame.
Yeah.
Do you
Ish.
have the quote?
Read
How he
it.
knows?
Read it, girl.
It's 7:00 Saturday night. I remember it real well because there was a television show that I wanted to catch. It was Battlestar Galactica.
Let me tell you, as someone that is affiliated with sci-fi nerds, they know.
They
He
know.
had to plug it real quick.
There is no question.
Oh my God. His assuredness, he's not even like, I care about this human person whose life is
I
on the
know
line.
because Battlestar
He's
Galactica.
like, listen,
Yes.
if anyone from Battlestar Galactica is listening, I love your show, and I know it is on at 7 p.m. on fucking Saturdays.
Yes.
Like, he just cares about Battlestar Galactica.
BG.
Oh my God. So that's how we know that those people saw him, because he was like, hey, Michael Martin, come watch Battlestar Galactica. And I'm sure Michael Martin, he was outside fixing his truck. 5 people saw him all day long, 70 miles away from Garland. The prosecution has 2 witnesses. Defense has 5. Martin's found guilty and sent to jail because they entered the supermarket Polish sausage and potato chip situation. So here's the crazy thing is that the prosecutor is like, this guy didn't fucking do it. Like, he is, after watching a million documentaries about a million people who have been represented by the Innocence Project or like making a murderer or all this shit that we are surrounded with right now. In 1988, a prosecutor was like, I guess we'll never know. And it's like, oh, we could find out.
You could try.
We could just maybe take this innocent man out of prison while we come to a conclusion. But he's a prosecutor. So even while he says it, he says like super vague things like, I guess we'll never know. You're a prosecutor. Like, you know what evidence is. you know that this person didn't do it.
Do your job.
Yeah. So
And we
that's...
still have the question of why would 5 people who barely knew him lie about this?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Nobody believes alibis. Nobody. Everybody believes eyewitness testimony, which the National Research Council in 2014, they found that 75% of wrongful convictions for rape and murder, including a number that led to people to being scheduled for execution, were based on faulty eyewitness testimony.
Oh my God.
Eyewitness testimony, think about, close your eyes right now. What's on my feet right now?
I don't know.
I know,
Good test.
right? What does my belt buckle look like?
Silver.
Okay, fuck you, I wear it all the time. So think about trying to remember like what the person sitting next to you is wearing, and then think about having a gun to your head, right?
Wait, hold on. I like now that listeners just only have the image of Allison. All they know is that she
Barefooted
wears
with a silver belt buckle.
belt buckle.
And that's all you
need to
get.
That's all she ever wears. She's the naked one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me, the naked one. Somewhere in the middle of a town square talking about like end of days. But yeah, so like being an eyewitness, that's like garbage testimony. But juries love it.
Love it.
They love it.
They love it.
They eat
They love
up.
it. And you know what they don't love? Alibis. So like I was recently listening to Bob Ruff, who does a podcast called Criminal Justice, is doing something on the West Memphis 3 right now.
Yes.
And he is amazing. He like takes questions from listeners, and one of the people was like, how come the jury didn't listen to the 7 witnesses that like one of these defendants had? And he said juries don't believe alibis. They think that the person giving the alibi is either a friend or trying to do good and help out someone they believe is innocent. So we believe a witness because they were there, but we don't believe even a casual. Of the 5 witnesses for Martin, only 2 were friends. The other 3 were just casual acquaintances that lived in his neighborhood that saw him working on his car until like 6 p.m. Jury doesn't care.
Yeah, and I hate to admit it, this is really good for me to think about because I can see myself being that way. I mean, I assume everyone is lying at all times, but if I have to choose between who do I think is lying, I almost would think someone giving an alibi for someone is lying over someone saying, well, I saw them here. I don't know. I mean, just naturally, I think I would do the same thing.
There have been a lot of studies done on lineups.
Yeah.
You know, like putting someone in front of like 6 people. People have cues that they give that are like positive and negative reinforcement. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting at a desk and someone just had a gun to your head, and you're flipping through a bunch of photos, and like you get to a photo that they're interested in.
Yes.
This is fucking like 1979.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a giveaway. Yeah. Something is gonna give it away. You know, so you know there's no physical evidence to convict him, but he goes to jail, and that's where he stays. He stays in prison. He serves the rest of the 19 years. He was paroled in 1999. And will remain on probation for the rest of his life.
Insane.
Yeah.
There's murderers that got out after 2 years.
Oh my God.
And this poor guy wanted some fucking Polish sausage.
I know.
Which any drunk person deserves.
I don't have a lot of updates. But in 2008, Martin's nephew started commenting.
Commenting on message boards? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. He wrote, "Hi, my name is Scott. Back in 2004, Mike Martin started dating my aunt. And in 2005, they got married. I personally believe he's innocent. I did not know Mike back in 1979. We know Scott because you're like 10. This is not the first time I've run into like a child being on the internet asking about whether or not their family member murdered someone. And although I'm like, oh, isn't someone paying attention to you? I'm also like, thank God I have some fodder for this fucking podcast. So apparently, while he was in prison, he earned 4 or 5 individual master's degrees. I would like to see.
What?
I just want to see. Look at, oh my God, Eliza is so
19
mad.
years.
Eliza is currently like $80,000 in debt for like a master's. She's so
you
fucking
could have just
mad.
gone to prison, honey.
So according to his nephew, he got parole, good behavior in 1999, has to check in with the parole officer twice a month. He works at an airplane parts manufacturing plant, and he was recently promoted to supervisor. And he's super upset that Doyle was interviewed in shadow because he was worried about retribution. Because according to Scott, Nobody would ever do anything to Doyle. Then he writes, anyway, as you can imagine, he never had a chance to have kids of his own. However, his stepdaughter, 29 years old in parentheses, gave birth, and he is the proudest grandfather you will ever see. He writes, Mike is a good man who at the most did not do it, and at the very least learned his lesson if he did do it and will not do it again.
No.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Just cover all the bases.
Yeah, he's like, here's the thing.
Also, he hasn't had a Polish sausage in 20 years. I really can't say Polish sausage right
He's
now.
like,
Polish sausage.
no one can say Polish sausage right now because I've been saying it so much. I said
We're
it
half
enough.
a can of wine deep.
That's the story of Michael Martin.
Nice job, Alison.
Thank you. I don't think so, but thanks.
Okay.
No, it's great. You're recording.
Yeah, we're recording, honey.
You recorded my cough. Okay, so this is, I should say this is my first story.
Yeah, Karlin.
On the pod.
Woo! Welcome to the pod, girl.
Didn't have one in the first one. We don't need to talk about that. So this is the third segment of this episode, and it is an unexplained death of Kurt McFall. So the episode starts with Robert Stack giving us an intro to the story while walking down a beach at sunset in a trench coat with a white button-up and a tie.
That's how I always go to the beach.
Don't we all?
Yeah, for sure.
I wasn't sure at first if I really, really liked this or if I really thought it was creepy. But for some reason, it made me fall into a hole of Googling pictures of Robert Stack on the beach. And I should have pulled some up to show you guys, but so cute and dreamy. He's like in his 20s or 30s in a cute little swimsuit with a little model. And it's just adorable. He's a dreamboat.
We can post him to the gram.
Yeah.
We should because that's steamy. So after...
Steamy Stack.
And then I learned all this other Robert Stack stuff that I didn't know, and I feel like I'm behind on, but I didn't know that he had won an Emmy and an Oscar.
Oh, yeah. He'd been around forever.
I learned a lot of
Maybe
Robert
we'll
Stack
do
facts.
a whole bio
Stack facts.
episode on Stack Facts.
Stack facts. I love it.
Yeah. So now we have my story of the unexplained death of Kurt McFall. Okay, so let's get into it.
Oh, man.
Saturday, September 8th, 1984, a teenager drove from his home in Concord, California, over the Golden State Bridge into San Francisco. It was supposed to be an overnight trip. He told his dad he'd be staying with a friend and would be back Sunday night. But, of course, he was not back Sunday night because this is Unsolved Mysteries. Mm-hmm. So Monday, September 10th, two men are bird watching on the beach and see a body.
Sure they are.
Why are you laughing, Allie?
I don't think they were bird watching.
They're bird watching and they see a body down at the base of the cliffs. The body turns out to be 17-year-old Kurt McFall.
Aww.
So the first thing we hear is from Kurt's father, Tom, his actual father. He has no doubts his son was murdered. He says Kurt was an experienced mountain climber and diver, so it doesn't make sense that he would have fallen down a cliff and drowned. The day after Kurt's disappearance, Tom receives an anonymous call saying that Kurt was in a satanic cult, that he wanted to leave, but he feared for his life.
Oh, is this our first Satanic Panic segment?
It sure is.
Oh, man. So many more to come.
Tom is alarmed by the phone call, but Tom is alarmed by the phone call and goes to search Kurt's room to see what he can find, which I'm very curious in the reenactment if this is Kurt's actual room, because it might be. It's his actual dad reenacting the scene.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I can't believe they asked people to do that.
It's just super sad.
It shows you that, like, parents will do anything.
Yes.
They'll relive it over and over again
Yeah.
if they think it'll find it.
Well, and as the episodes go on, a lot of it is like these parents saw how cases were solved using the show, and so they would reach out to be on it.
It's true. And I don't know if we've talked about this before, but these episodes were re-edited together in an order that they did not air.
Yeah.
So it's possible that
Yeah.
they had seen many episodes where people had solved things because of this
and then they
television
put
show.
themselves in a really hard position, but to get their crime solved that they needed solved.
It's just crazy that they would agree to like reenacting the worst moments of their lives.
Totally.
Tom finds, the first thing he finds is a knife made from a deer hoof and a feather necklace. And at first it just sounds like Kurt might be a Portland hipster. He just has hipster shit laying around his room with crystals and dream catchers.
Is it? I feel like they show a roach clip in the reenactment. Is it really a feather necklace or is it a roach clip? It
The
looked like a
thing they
rooster.
show is a necklace. I don't know what was truly found or if that's actually the item that was
Okay.
found.
When we open an Unsolved Mysteries museum, maybe we'll get all the original
man.
stuff.
He also finds drawings of what Robert Stack calls, quote, witchcraft and violent fantasies, which I would like to show photos of on the Instagram because these are crazy. They're drawings of weapons being used, blood spraying out of bodies.
What?
Yeah, they're crazy. I don't know if they're the real drawings, but
Kurt,
they very well could be.
calm down.
So now we're going to go into Kurt's backstory a little bit. Kurt became interested in medieval fantasy game Dungeons and Dragons
Yes.
at 10 years old.
Yes.
Someone
Allie?
else in the room is also.
Someone else here
Me. I'm a
may have
novice,
experience.
but I enjoy it. Whatever.
Allison's been playing D&D.
I have. I love it.
So Kurt gets super into D&D. Robert Stack says it was the beginning of a voyage into a subculture that would dominate Kurt. So Kurt's
Alison,
dad-
it's a gateway. Look out. It's a gateway.
Oh, God, if that's the gateway. Yikes.
it's too late.
Way too late.
I've driven past so many
gone
gateways.
backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
You've reached the beginning.
I've come back to the beginning of gateways. I've gone through so many.
But it just cracks me up that Kurt's dad and Robert Stack are both like, this was the fall to the dark side of him
Yeah.
playing D&D.
D&D.
But like you said, it's mid-satanic panic, which went on way longer than I thought when I was researching this. But
Thanks,
there was like
Geraldo.
a wide window of satanic panic.
Hell yeah, there was.
A year before his death, Kurt joined Society for Creative Anachronism, or SCA. And so this is just like the next level of Kurt's nerd ladder that he's climbing. Basically, they wear medieval shit, practice medieval customs such as jousting, which they do in the parking lot of a subway station.
It's a dream.
Robert Stack and Kurt's dad are very concerned about this behavior, but I
What?
feel like best case scenario for your teenage
Oh,
son.
yes.
Oh, my
Hanging out
God.
in a parking lot
Better
with a
than,
bunch of nerds.
Like joyriding or doing or
Anything.
having premarital sex.
Yeah, having
Literally
babies.
anything.
That is not going to happen if you're jousting in a parking
in
lot.
a full
Yes. So
night
now enter Hillary Powers,
Yes, the hero of the
president of
episode.
the SCA. We're going to show a picture of her on the Instagram, of course.
I have never seen anyone more enthusiastic about anything in my life.
You guys love her.
I love her so much.
She does her interview in full red hood.
She is so excited.
She's really excited. She never blinks.
That's how you know.
She tells us that Kurt was really good at jousting and that his death had nothing to do with his participation in SCA. Kurt,
I don't think it did.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
You didn't find him like jousted or whatever. He wasn't
No.
impaled on a giant like jousting thing. So
well, okay, just
oh
wait.
no.
Okay, Kurt soon becomes part of another group that practices pagan religion.
Here we go.
Unsolved Mysteries does not mention the name of this, but I find that later, so I'll talk about it. We have an interview with Kurt's friend from high school. The friend chooses to remain anonymous, so he's in silhouette in front of a window because he fears for his own life in talking about the cult. I know.
So preposterous.
The friend talks about how Kurt changed a lot in the months leading up to his death, says his attitude towards others changed. He moved to adopting the pagan religion as his and began to lose friends because of it.
Where did he live again?
Near San
Outside of
Francisco?
San Francisco.
Oh, I was gonna say
I know. I don't know why it's...
Pagans everywhere.
it's San Francisco.
So then we cut to a scene of the actual cult
Yes.
sitting in a circle chanting with candles and like a weird naked lady statue in the middle of them. They're just chanting Hail Earth, Mother of All over and over and over again. And we have the cult leader, Gabriel Carrillo, who looks
Yes, please.
like a chubby Terry Richardson, who, as you know, is the very gross, rapey photographer who's been accused of a lot of things.
The glasses are all terrible.
So, yep, he's got those stupid American Apparel gross dad glasses before they were
ironic.
like a thing. Gabriel uses the ancient Welsh name Karotic. So don't be confused as I use this name a lot. Alison hates it already. But Robert Stack calls him Karotic through the whole episode, so that's why I'm switching.
Can you spell that?
Caradoc.
Oh, different than
Karotic.
than I thought. Okay.
Okay.
Gabriel says there are magical techniques in their practice. He says Kurt was interested in magic and that he was smart and curious about all of it. High school silhouette friend likens his involvement with the group to a drug addiction.
Ooh.
Like,
This is post-war on drugs. So now we have Satanic Panic and the war on drugs. True 80s
Not a
dream
good
segment.
It's really intense, this pretending and sitting in a circle. Gabriel says he does not control people's lives. Their group gives people control of their own lives and encourages it. Saturday, 9:10, Kurt was going to stay at Karadic's apartment, which, first of all, is weird because Kurt is 17 and
Problematic.
Karadic is in his 30s. Why is this happening?
I think we know why it's happening.
Karadic says they had dinner and saw a movie. They come home at midnight and Kurt goes swimming in the ocean.
Oh, clearly.
Always.
I do that all
Especially
of the time.
this Pacific Ocean in the middle of the night.
It's
What
really
could possibly
strange.
go wrong?
Kurt later goes to bed, but then becomes restless and can't sleep. So around 3 a.m., he knocks on Karadic's door, says he's too hot and he's going to the beach, which is even weirder. Like,
It's so odd.
it's so weird and it doesn't make any sense. And why would you go by? Why would you even tell someone you were going?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
You're
why
gonna
would you
go,
knock
just
on the
go.
door at 3 a.m. and be like, oh, I know I'm sleeping over and I totally woke you up, but I'm hot.
Yeah, and 3 a.m.
Like, what are
is
you,
the
5?
creepiest time of the night.
Help me.
Yeah.
I'm hot.
Obviously, this whole account is only coming from Karadic because no one else was there. So this is the last time anyone saw Kurt. Karadic says Kurt was just being too risky that night and some sort of accident must have happened. He got pulled out by the ocean while swimming, or he accidentally got too close to the edge of the cliff and fell. The next morning, Kurt's car was found right next to the edge of the golf course overlooking the ocean. They found his driver's license on the floor, his keys on the seat, a $20 bill in the glove compartment, and that his suit of armor was missing from the trunk.
What? Someone jacked his suit of armor?
Beer bottles were scattered in and around the car.
Oh, man. Kurt.
Yeah. But Kurt's dad, Tom, says the scene is phony because Kurt didn't drink beer,
Oh, please.
which, again, just a dad being in denial, probably.
I know my child.
But he was also super nerdy,
Although-
so maybe he really didn't.
Yeah, I could see him not.
I mean, you can't drink and joust, that's for sure.
No way.
Don't drink and joust.
Danger.
The autopsy said there were no drugs and alcohol in his body, so that actually supports what Kurt's dad is saying.
Well, now I feel like a jerk.
The next day, Kurt's body is found just below the cliffs where his car was and less than 2 miles from Karadic's house. The town lifeguard says his body was in good condition, pale, no obvious external trauma except for small abrasions. Kurt had no shoes or shirt. His back and shoulders were scored with abrasions, and he was missing his belt buckle.
Back and shoulders?
Yes.
Okay.
The Coast Guard officer says it appears he just fell off the cliff, but the coroner's report says Kurt died from multiple traumatic injuries and severe blood loss. He could have drowned, but this doesn't explain the abrasions and the loss of blood. So why are they saying he could have drowned? I don't understand why that's
Right.
Either there's water in your lungs or there isn't, right?
right. Kurt's dad went to the coroner and they said the most probable cause is homicide. They sent the case to homicide with cause unknown. The coroner said there was not enough evidence to testify this in a court of law, and the case remains open as of the episode airing. So at the end of it, Tom still believes it was a murder. He says Kurt may have discovered something he wasn't supposed to know and may have indicated he was going to expose it. The cult wanted to do away with him. So obviously, Kurt's anonymous friend agrees with this theory. He says these types of organizations don't make threats, they make actions.
What? I mean, isn't there information now that there were actually no satanic cults at the time? Like, who are these people that everyone is afraid of that they have so much information about? Like,
Well, exactly.
it's like, oh, these people don't make threats. Like, they don't exist, man. What are you
This
talking
is the first
about?
time we're hearing. And these people
Who
are
are
not
these people?
Satanists, actually.
No.
There could be many layers to this.
All right. I'm sure you have some.
So Karadic has a pretty good point because he says the last person he'd murder would be a kid staying at his house when his dad knew he was staying there. And that is a pretty good point.
That's true.
He says he understands Kurt's dad needs to blame someone and gets that he's the convenient choice, but he has absolutely no responsibility for Kurt's death.
Huh. That's like emotionally responsible of him.
So at the end of this episode, Tom is the only person still investigating his son's death. The case is virtually closed, and he's hoping someone will come forward with new information and there will be justice for Kurt.
Okay.
So then the research was pretty much nothing as far as updates on anything. Everything I found were comments on message boards. So
Awesome.
it's a lot and it's a little crazy. People say Carrillo/Karadžić was either gay or bi, and that there were reasons to believe there was weird sex stuff happening between the two, which I think you were alluding to earlier.
I mean,
some theorized that Kurt and Gabriel left that night together. Gabriel made advances that Kurt didn't want, and they had a scuffle resulting in Gabriel pushing Kurt off the cliff. They think the beer bottles scattered around the car were an attempt to make it look like Kurt's careless accident. But others comment that if Kurt fell down the cliff, why was there nothing in the autopsy about evidence of this, like rocks and dirt being in the wounds on his back?
Totally.
Because they all seem like clean, small cuts.
Yeah.
So because of the clean, small cuts, others feel like this could have been a weird cutting ritual gone wrong. Ew. So there were lots of comments on unsolved.com, which is the actual official site for Unsolved Mysteries. One comment I found was from someone named Sylvia Ross, who leaves a really crazy comment. She says she was a student of Carrillo's, which you don't realize until halfway through the comment means she was actually in the cult. Mm-hmm. She's super casual about it and doesn't mention this until like the very end of the comment. And she says she learned from other members of the cult after leaving it that Gabriel was into ritualistic cutting.
Yikes.
So this person, Sylvia, also says that Gabriel once shared with her in his earlier life that he had twice attempted suicide due to depression because of the homosexual feelings he was having. Both of these times, his method was slitting his wrists.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Karadžić.
I know. He's got a sordid past. Now, this is where Sylvia's comment gets really cray and might not make her the most credible source of info. She truly believes that Gabriel cutting his wrists attracted demon spirits because demons love blood.
Oh, okay.
And that the demon spirits posed to Gabriel as gods and goddesses, which was the experience that first got Gabriel into the cult because she said this depressed, self-conscious kid who was down on himself for homosexual feelings suddenly felt powerful and in control after being in the presence of gods.
That escalated quickly.
It was a really long comment.
Oh, Lord.
But she talks about how much she loved Gabriel and so did everyone else and how this is just the cult experience.
So is she implying that she thinks Gabriel did it or that he didn't do it? Or is she just like all about the demons and...
I don't think she's saying he did because she's saying how much she loved him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or
It's
she could be
super weird.
saying because he was into the cutting or whatever that maybe he did... Right? But that she still left him and it was an accident. Like he didn't mean to kill him or something.
Well, it seems like she's leading with all the cutting information and then sums it up by saying that she loves him so much.
Yeah.
So, and that it's just part of the cult experience. Like, is she implying that
Well, yeah.
sometimes you end up in the
Right.
Pacific?
Loving a psycho? I don't know.
Yikes. Okay.
It does seem like a lot of people in the group really did like see him as this like beloved teacher. I have another comment from a guy named Brian who his group name is Veerdlokken.
Oh.
He's saying that the theories are false and it's obviously the besmirching of a man that many loved. He admits to knowing that Gabriel was into the S&M stuff, but that he never used or spoke about cutting rituals. And the reason he knows this is because he was one of Gabriel's sexual partners. And he even describes a weird ritual they did with piercing flesh, hanging hooks and weighted balls off the body.
No.
Wait. Okay. So you're not into cutting, but you're into hook hanging.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Not the same.
I mean, obviously not. I knew people. I've known people who've done that. It's insane to watch.
Wait,
but-
are they always doing it and engaging in sexual activity?
No, I mean, there are people
sometimes
that-
they're just doing it.
Yeah.
and
I mean,
hanging?
I didn't watch people have sex and hang. I just watched them hang.
You
Well, I
watch
think-
them hang
Yeah.
in person?
Oh, yeah.
And I think there are people that is a sexual act
Oh, for sure.
And
But
it
there-
doesn't have anything to do with sex.
But
Yeah.
some people just do it and don't need the
Yeah,
sex
some
part.
people, I guess it's like an adrenaline rush or something. I don't know. It looks so painful. I've seen them do it from their backs, hang from their
Yeah.
backs from hooks, like
So,
that are in their flesh.
I don't know how this guy who like helped him with that ritual says he knows he wasn't into cutting. Because that's
Yeah, I was going to say that's not like a giant leap. I'm not saying that one is necessarily associated with the other, but you can't fully discount it because if you can throw some hooks into your flesh, I think you could cut it a little bit.
Yeah.
And usually when they hang from their backs, I think. And Kurt had wounds on his backs and shoulders, like cuts on his backs.
But I think they were small. I don't know. It's very
Maybe,
mysterious.
but maybe he was like trying to get him ready for that.
Ugh, God.
Oh.
Any
By
panic?
desensitizing him or something.
Oh,
I don't know. That's a big jump. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
So-
I mean, it's all theory.
Okay. I'm not going to read Veerdlocken's whole thing, but basically he says all these wonderful things about Gabriel and how much he loved him and that he knows he was not a Satanist and that he had no responsibility for what happened. So I learned during my research that Gabriel has since passed away. I found his obituary, which states he crossed over peacefully into the welcoming arms of our ancestors on January 1st, 2007. He was only 58 years old. He was active in the community as a musician, teacher, woodworker, writer, hypnotherapist, and small business owner.
Hypnotherapist?
Yep, just throwing that in there.
Yikes.
He also served on the Sonoma County Commission on AIDS from 2001 to 2006. He was very active in the Society for Creative Acronism, serving as King of the Western Kingdom in 1969.
Yes!
Establishing many rules and awards that are used by the society to this day.
In 1969?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Oh, girl, he was a lifer.
Oh, my God. I love it.
I found another account of someone who knew Kurt, his friend Tim Knight. He describes Kurt as being an 11 on the nerd scale.
Oh,
Nice.
And says that the SCA was a group of dorks, the morbidly obese, and those who preferred to live in medieval times.
Oh, my God. That guy's
nice.
a dick.
I know.
Jesus. I thought he was being cute and funny.
No.
Oh.
He says Kurt started to change in subtle ways. He was getting more and more into SCA, and discussions of his sexual adventures were getting weirder and weirder.
Good
He
for
was
you, Kurt.
Yeah.
He was really into the accoutrements of the SCA, including the sword.
I hate that word.
God damn it!
Isn't that word the fucking
It's
word?
when you read it,
Sword.
including his sword and suit of armor. So
Wait, I'm sorry. Go back because you distracted me with sword.
he was really into the accoutrements of the SCA, including his sword and suit of armor,
Oh.
which was missing from his trunk that night.
Fuck.
And there was a sword around. I don't know.
What do you think happened?
I don't know.
Wait,
guys.
what? I missed it. What happened?
I don't know. I'm just saying
Wait, but how did he die?
he put this all together, like his sexual adventures getting weirder, and then
Oh,
he
fuck.
was really into his
Oh,
sword
I know.
and his suit of
oh,
armor.
I see what you're saying.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Oh, no.
Man. And that doesn't teach the right lesson. You should be.
the meat lady story.
What?
I leave in the meat lady story.
Girl, do the meat lady
God
story.
damn it.
That's always a yes.
Okay. So there was one last weird story I read from someone who apparently knew Kurt. He used to babysit for a San Francisco cop and said that his mother-in-law lived in a trailer park. And a story she would tell was that the story of this weird lady who lived at the trailer park who only came out at night, always dressed in black, and who stole meat out of people's freezers that were on their porches. She would also leave really strange letters on people's porches. One day, she let me read the letters and they had been collecting, and in one of them, it describes a satanic killing of a young boy by the name of Kurt McFall.
What?
I don't know.
I
don't know why Meat Lady is credible. It's just something I found.
I mean, how can she not be?
Seriously, she is leaning into her role. So, ugh.
So Kurt's death is still a mystery.
Oh.
There's no updates to the
Bummer.
case. I don't think it's been investigated since Kurt's dad was doing it. And I couldn't find anything about Tom, Kurt's dad.
He probably has passed away, right?
Probably.
What do you think happened?
We'll never really know what happened that night on the beach.
Are we allowed to speculate?
Yes,
I
please.
mean, my initial was Gabriel, but that was my initial thought, but I don't want him to have done it.
So
I
he's
hope
either
not.
like a true psychopath. The fact that he was like, why would I kill somebody a child who came to my house whose dad knew I was staying?
says
they were
exactly what
staying.
he actually did.
Exactly. So like that's either I didn't do it or I'm like a psychopath.
Yes.
And I
Or-
can say that.
Yes.
Something truly unplanned happened.
Yes.
I think that maybe Kurt went out to find somebody and met the wrong person.
So you don't think it was Gabriel? at all?
I don't-
Not even Craddock at all.
I don't think
Is
it
that
was.
his name, Gabriel?
I mean,
sorry,
yes,
sorry.
that is his
Karodic is
name.
what we're supposed to be calling him.
Karodic. He preferred to go by Karodic. I think that maybe it could have been unrelated, that he was maybe grooming Kurt in some way or another, or introducing him because the mean friend had said that he was telling more bizarre
Right.
sexual stories. So maybe he was introducing Kurt to a bunch of stuff, but I
Right.
don't think he necessarily killed him. And the fact that the armor was missing,
Right.
like, and Kurt liked to have sex with armor people or whatever is implied. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think that's somewhat implied in the comments. I'm still a little confused as
Me
to how
too.
that would work, but
Or
I
maybe
would
somebody
love
was
to
just
know
like,
more.
This is worth money.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, but I don't think that Karate had anything. I don't
hope
know.
not. I really
don't
hope
know. I mean, Gacy was in the Rotary Club, so who fucking knows? But I would think that somebody that involved in the community, someone who probably had HIV and was working with others that had HIV, you know, like...
Yeah.
I
It also
would
seems
like
odd to go on this show and do an interview.
Yeah, and like show the part of the ritual, or you know, I don't know. I feel like he was, like I said, he's either a psychopath who who knows he can't be blamed for it, or he didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, like think about a 17-year-old kid out in San Francisco by himself at 3 a.m. There's all sorts of fucking shit that could happen.
Sad.
Yeah.
All kinds of bird watchers around.
So many bird watchers. Yes. Girl. That was awesome. We can definitely end the segment on that note. Nice work, KB.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the 4th segment of episode 2, season 1, it's a lost love segment, which I was reading online and people were commenting, and everybody was talking about how it was their least favorite, like, part of Unsolved Mysteries. And at first I was like, it's kind of a bummer. Like, the reason why Unsolved Mysteries is good is that it isn't just, like, sad stuff. Like, there's, like, reuniting and things like that.
Yeah.
But I could imagine being, like, 13 years old, waiting all week for this fucking show to come on, and you don't get to watch it again for another week, and like ending with a lost loves. Like,
About old people.
Oh my God, about fucking old people in World War II. Like, for real though, stop. You know,
Some
like,
people only want the dark stuff.
yeah. Like, I mean, I only want the dark stuff, but we're doing this show with all of the segments included because I don't want all the dark stuff all the time,
No.
you know? So anyway, these are the V-Mail letters. Basically, this is what happened. During World War II, thousands of soldiers wrote letters to say goodbye to their loved ones when they were shipping out. The mail was expedited by a military service called V-Mail, and it was the only link to them and their families. So basically, like, they would just constantly write letters. Like, one person would write, like, 50 fucking letters to every... It would be like sending out, like, a chain email. Not a chain email, but like a mass email to be like, goodbye, I might die. But you have to do it over and over again.
The other thing I was thinking of too is it's also kind of their only thing to do maybe while they're waiting to go out somewhere, while they're on their ship, while
sure.
you know, whatever. So it's also a way to that they kept themselves busy and connected to their family.
Absolutely.
At home.
Yeah, absolutely. So on February 4th, 1986, 41 years after the war, Mike Menendez, I'm sorry, but...
I think you got it.
Menendez? Okay, rad. Is a pest exterminator, and he was spraying the attic of an elderly woman, and he came across a bag of letters, which fucking...
Dream.
True dream.
True dream.
Please. Oh my God, I love finding old letters.
Let's just tear all these walls down. What will we find?
I don't know. I think Leonard Bernstein's
Razors.
sister lived here. So many fucking razors.
Tear it down.
No, those are my razors.
Got it.
From my rough days.
That's true. Anything we would find would just be like, Allie, why did you put this in the wall?
Actually, when we were demoing this house, I ripped down some sheetrock from the ceiling, and 4 whiskey bottles fell and hit me in the head.
right.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the best.
That was like the universe being like, you have a drinking problem. And I was like, suck it. I'm going to put flowers in these. So Mike Menendez is a pest exterminator spraying the attic of an elderly woman. Oh, shit. Her house.
Do not edit that out.
I am not fucking editing
Keeping it.
that out. And he came past a bag of letters. Jesus fucking Christ. He didn't know what he was looking at, but he saw this V-Mail stamp. It's like a red V-Mail stamp on the envelopes, and he knew that something was like up about them. So he went to the homeowner and found out that she had a nephew who was a crew member aboard the SS Caleb Strong, and it was bound for North Africa in May of 44. The troops on board had written 235 letters home and stuffed them into a duffel bag. The nephew, who remains unnamed, promised to mail them when he returned to the USA, but he fucking forgot. Oh my fucking God. Like, you had one job, man.
Wow, wow.
Just one.
I mean, it's 235 letters. It probably weighs like 50 fucking pounds. Like, it's on your back. How do you forget it?
Yeah. And who walked it up to
take
that
it to the
attic?
Yes, I'm going to take it to the utmost part of my house.
Yeah, like, I don't know. So Mike is awesome. He's a true hero. And he's like, listen, let me take these letters, but I won't tell anybody your name or your nephew's name.
So nice.
So nice. Then he actually didn't, and I totally
And they totally deserve public shaming.
Yeah, I mean, not the elderly woman.
No.
But the
not
nephew, a bit. Just like a little bit.
Just a bit.
Jesus Christ. Okay, he sends the letters out, and they end up with a woman named Meg Harris, who works for the Postal Service, and she is another hero. She's like super enthusiastic in the interview and like really cute. So it turns out 92 GIs had written to over 150 friends and family. So there weren't 235 people each writing one letter. This is 95 people writing 235 letters.
I just got chills.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. So she found 89 of the 92 soldiers, and only 3 couldn't be tracked down. She's super sweet. Like, she had to call people. Like, this is before the internet. Like, imagine what it was like to find, like, 92 people that you have no idea of their last address 44 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my God. Okay, so then they hit us with, like, this, like, cinematic fucking situation where it's like, I've never seen The Notebook, but this is what I envision The Notebook fucking being like. So there's a woman named Merrill Page Rapley who was married to Frank Rapley, and he was a B-17 turret gunner. I do not know what that is, and I didn't look it up. They read part of his letter, and it's like super precious. Like fucking, I can't with it. Sorry. It's so sweet. His plane was shot down in Austria in 1944, and Merrill never remarried. So she's been a widow for 44 years. Oh, my God. On receiving Frank's letter, she said, "It tore me to pieces, but after waiting that long for 42 years to get another letter from the man I still love," I know, "is just something only the Lord can understand, the depth of the meaning." Then they reveal that she had only been married to him for 2.5 years. Way to bury the fucking lead. 2.5 years. And she never marries again. She loved this person so much that she was like, that's it, for 44 years. Like, that, I feel like that would never happen today.
And
You know?
it didn't say if they had kids. Maybe they did or didn't. They probably didn't.
Yeah, I don't think
So
No, I
like
don't
it's
think
not
they
like
did.
she has kids that remember him that
Yeah.
can talk about him, or it's
I
like
mean,
just her.
They show her, she's in her house, and
Yeah.
she looks like she's just by herself.
Yes.
Like, it is so sad. It's so, so moving. And I just don't think that something like that would ever happen today. I can't imagine in, like, a world where we have access to any human being at all times that anybody would be
I
married.
mean, my grandma pretty much did the same thing. They
Yeah.
were married for longer before my grandpa passed, but her entire life she did
And
not
I think that,
see
like,
anyone else.
I think a lot of people have a story like that about their grandparents, but I don't know a lot of people that have stories like that about their parents.
Yeah.
You know, that are our age. Like, it just isn't like,
Right.
I can't imagine being like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah.
So she said, "I never did remarry because no one could ever replace him." Jesus. Then they feature another woman, and she's like holding back tears. Her husband was Staff Sergeant Sumter Grubb. Within months of writing the letter that she received, he was killed in combat. The show tells us that 2 final letters made it to their destinations, so I don't have a lot to add in the way of resolution. I mean, I choked up while I was watching the segment, and like, I don't normally do that, but it was so insane, and it was so moving that I did like a little bit more research about World War II. Keep this in mind when you're thinking about these people, these men going off to war and writing these letters, and these women and families receiving the letters 44 years later. America suffered 418,500 civilian and military deaths. Germany, India, and Japan were in the millions. I mean, it's insane. And I was like, what the fuck, India? But they still belonged to Great Britain. So
right.
Great Britain was like, go fight for us. Bye. And the last thing is that over 60 million people were killed during World War II, which was about 3% of the world's population in 1940.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it is the deadliest war, obviously, the United States has been involved in. Not our deadliest war.
Yeah.
Ours is the Civil
Civil War.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So many people
So, like,
died.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, so the actual statistics vary between 50 and 80 million because some people include, the 80 million is including the war-related deaths like disease, famine. I mean, so much, it's just horrible. But yeah, so 3% of the world was gone in 6 years. And that fucking guy should have mailed those fucking letters.
So if you have letters
But also
in your home, mail them.
Yeah.
kind of blessing in disguise. Like,
I know.
It's like one more voice from that person that
I know.
You know
That's
what I
true.
mean? Like
And
You've
from the
probably
past.
read and reread those letters
Yeah.
that you did get from them,
I
and
know.
never think obviously.
like I
you're
can't
gonna get
imagine the
anything else.
excitement she had.
Yeah.
At like, oh my God, like something yet I haven't seen yet from him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I could see that for sure. And like in a way it does make it more important and more unbelievable and more special.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
that was two reactions. Like maybe
He
there
failed.
were families that were like, what the fuck? Like why,
Oh, sure.
you know, like, and maybe like that could be a positive or a negative thing for a family, like to throw a person back into that situation after 44 years,
Yeah.
you know, like, so
Well, thinking too about like the maybe siblings of the person who sent the letter getting the letter in the 80s.
Yeah.
And thinking about, maybe their parents have passed away and their parents never got
it.
read that letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there are definitely positives and negatives to the situation.
Yeah.
But that I can see that being a big negative. Like, oh, they never got to know they did this, or
Yeah.
that they were thinking this thought. Or
And also, it shouldn't be up to a guy it shouldn't be up to some random guy who like didn't bother, you know?
Yeah.
So like he doesn't get to make that call. That's
Yeah.
like way too big of a call. And then to continue to not do it because of embarrassment, they could have just dropped the letters off. Anybody
Yeah.
could have just
Yes.
dropped the letters off.
Anonymously
Anonymously
dropped it off at the post office or something.
Yeah, because that's exactly what Mike Menendez did. Like he was just like, here.
someone should do
Someone
something
should
with
do
this.
something. Yeah. So
Nice.
yeah, so Lost Loves, I don't think they're all super cheesy and bad, and I think that that's what separates this show from, you know, all of the true crime shit that we watch where it's just like murder, rape, like child abduction, you know, like it's important to have something like this in a show where, you know, sometimes there is a happy ending and it doesn't involve bad guys going to jail, like it involves just something small, you know. So yeah, that's the Lost Loves and the V-Mail Letter segment. Thanks, guys.
You can subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your favorite pods. If you like us, please leave a review on iTunes and tell a friend. That's the best way for others to hear about our show. You can follow us on Instagram at @re_solved mysteries. And we have a website, resolvedmysteriespodcast.com. You can contact us there if you'd like to. Thanks for listening.
Bye.